Hello, everyone, and welcome to Market Pulse with NFT18, where we analyze and break down the latest market trends with Zoup, co-founder of Non-Fungibles and the new advanced analytics studio NFT18. Zoup, my man, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to have you on, and an interesting time being about 10 days out from the halving here. So keen to hear your thoughts on that. But before we hop in, can you give me the TLDR, a brief background on yourself for anyone checking this show for the first time?
Of course. So my name is Gauthier, but I'm more known as Zoup in the space because my French name is impossible to pronounce. And so I've been in the space since 2018. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that I've been the first guy in the world to publish market research about NFTs. And my first company is called nonfungible.com, where we used to publish a lot of market research and market reports. So you have some of them here. And now, since something like a year and a half, I'm basically doing the same kind of market research, market report about NFTs through NFT18. So my mission in this space is still to give everyone some information, insights about what's going on, and just ignore the hype, ignore the buzz, and just consider actual real statistics about NFTs.
Fact, data-driven analysis, what we love to do here and get some real inferences. You also are an OG. I always like to remind people that you are truly embedded in the space. I see you on my friends list playing blockchain games. I've seen pictures of you way in the early days and the nascent days of NFTs, presenting to maybe 3 or 4 people in what looked like a classroom with a projector or something. I don't know, some ancient pictures. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, not too dissimilar. Not too dissimilar to pictures that I seen of NFT NYC this past year. So I don't know if that's coincidence or what, but something that I did think of over the course of the past couple of days. So before we hop into it and all the interesting things happening in the crypto markets, the NFT markets, I know that you actually presented at NFT18. One of our community members, our head of partnerships here, Mongoose, was
Yeah.
in I believe and tried to go to your presentations. I think he did make it, but would be
It
keen to
did
hear
make it. And we
be keen
met.
to hear awesome. That's awesome. Be keen to hear your impressions of both NFT NYC overall, and anything you could tell us from like a data and analytics perspective on it.
Sure. So just to give you the context, I've been to the first NFT NYC conference in 2019. It was in a small theater in New York, in Times Square. It was honestly quite cozy, some sort of a really chill OG mood, where basically I met a completely unknown artist called Josie Bellini. She had a super small table with just a small artwork. I mean, you just go and you can hug people, guys from OpenSea. You can basically see all the true people. Now, 6 years later, it's a bit different. So it's a which is about like, I don't know, 5,000 square meters, something like that. It's massive, probably way too big to the actual audience they have. And the thing is that from year to year, it's been the third year at this venue, it's super empty. The first feeling we had, yeah, yep, that's the reality. I mean, it was in the morning. Okay, I must confess, it was something like 9 a.m., like that. It was definitely early in the morning, but yeah, like 3 people here. And
Right.
so now it's super empty. Most people I know of, even French people that go to New York for the conference, they go to the side events and they don't even take a ticket to the conference.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Mongoose was mentioning that in his recap of it, and Wes, our art director, was there as well for some of the side events. Mentioned it was even more so a B2B conference this year, right? A lot of
Yes.
people talking about infrastructure and building, and really kind of a lack of putting the art and culture at the forefront. I mean, some of the big organizations you would think would be there, or projects really didn't have a presence there, but some of them did have side events, including Josie Bellini, whose party looked lit actually for Cyber Brokers. Uh,
Yeah,
Josie, I don't know if you had a chance to go down there, Zoop,
of
but I
course, of course, I was there.
Cool. You recall those videos of the 2019 event, and there's like Rizzle, heckling someone up there that was presenting. Like, it was a much different environment now, and people wonder, I people talk about, I know the venue itself might be up for a change next year. The Javits Center may be not working for them anymore, thinking about a
Mhm.
intimate setting, maybe not like Tezpole intimate, but hopefully, something that allows people to feel like it's more connected. But, charging
Yeah,
750 a ticket, like letting so many
yeah.
people speak and then no show, clearly the model needs to be changed, right?
Yeah. You know what? Something I suggested to them, and I really think, I mean, I'm humble about that, but I think that could be the solution for these kind of big events is, they have like 50 different rooms. Only 3 or 4 of them are really used. So why not to propose to host the side events? And basically, any speaker that is there could be like, hey, in 20 minutes, we have our side events in room that room. And instead of just looking for a venue somewhere in New York, you can basically have, and even myself as a tourist, I can basically to go to all the side events side by side and discover some. Just host them, regroup them.
Right. Not unlike a con, right? Like a Comic Con or some of those types of conventions where within the hotel itself and some of the smaller rooms they have a lot of different things. Let alone
Yeah.
the hospitality suite. But that's another story for another day, Zoop. Someone commenting on the Discord that although it was sparse, that was actually probably good considering how many people have gotten sick. You had a lot of air circulation, if nothing else, there. So maybe some people dodged the bullet. From the organizations you were meeting with, a lot of other people building infrastructure, a lot of projects.
Mm.
Anything interesting from a data perspective, from like other, data researchers or people doing cool stuff with market analytics tools?
Honestly, I haven't talked to everyone here, but I haven't met that many data related company. There is that guy from Coin Fund that has some sort of a global introduction about the state of NFT markets using June analytics every year. But we are at a stage of NFTs where most people are really struggling to just launch a product and make just a little bit of money with NFTs.
Right.
So in this kind of context, you have different kind of layers. You have the product, the strategy around the product, and to have a good strategy, you need data. But when the times are really tough, you get rid of data and you get rid of strategy, and you just launch a product and hope it will work.
Right.
I think we are precisely at that stage of the NFT market.
Interesting. Well, I know that I saw a correlation recently. I don't remember if it was Nansen or another research studio talking about the lag between what we see in the macro crypto markets and then what we end up seeing in the NFT markets, right?
Yeah.
And through a number of studies, they had come down to an approximate time frame of about 4 months that they had seen that post 4 months of significant action, the shock waves and after effects are felt in the macro NFT market. So we're upon the halving. A lot of volatility right now, certainly, and there's
Yeah.
speculation on what's to come. I'm sure we'll feel that whiplash, and the market could be in a very different place come 6 months to a year from now. But
Yeah,
let's go ahead.
no, basically a lot of people around me, I've talked about that with people at NFT and YC, and there's some sort of a global mood expectation about NFTs, which is that we are really close to the halving. I don't remember the exact date, but a month?
I think it's 10 days or
10
so,
days,
but
sorry, 10
yeah, I
days,
know it can
yeah.
fluctuate. Yep.
10 days before the halving. And a lot of people consider that basically everything may collapse or just go down or whatever after the halving. And then we may have the alt season. And that during this alt season, that may be the NFT new season 2. So that sounds like a reasonable plan to me. I don't
Yeah,
know what you
yeah.
think.
I mean, yeah. Personally, this is just anecdotally. Being that we're in uh, this point in what is the cyclical nature of Bitcoin. I've been deploying a lot of capital into tokens.
Hmm.
And trying to position myself. And certainly there's projects, there's art that I continue to collect, there's art that I have my eyes on, but not everybody is at not everybody has infinite resources where they can just constantly put into the market. I need to extract some as well, and I try to do that from the cryptocurrency market and then reinvest it into art. And I think a lot of other people within our community think the same way. And so basically, right now is they're thinking, let me cake up a little bit, right? Let me try to make some gains and make some wins that I could redeploy into the market, into the NFT market specifically. Because some of
Hmm.
that you do without. I mean, I certainly collect a lot of things, and I know a lot of our community does just because they love it. They want to acquire it. They want to have it, not necessarily thinking of resale down the line. Now, there are some things that you do, and some things that there's confluence there, right? You love it and you believe it's an investment. But there's also a lot of you just want to support creative, something just
Yeah.
resonates with you. You love to have it in your wall, or you just geek on collecting it, which I do way too much, but like you know what I mean. So you need to have some kind of balance there, and I think a lot of people are trying to position themselves right now and say, let's get funding. And one of the things I feel that is difficult to it's difficult to explain to someone that hasn't experienced some of these crypto cycles, right? And kind of the cyclical nature of where the stages go and where the sentiment can be and how widely it can swing. But we'll see creatives so often saying, "Hey, I see all this money all this money right now in this, whether it's X copy only, right? Like high end NFT sales or meme coins or whatever. When is that
Mm.
going to? How come that doesn't affect us or my tier of where I'm creating and putting things into the market, or collectors that collected things that were maybe at a different place in the marketplace thinking the same thing. Hey, when would this money affect us? Does this market just pass us
Yeah.
by? And I think much like we talk about the cascading
Hmm.
of market cap coins and
Yeah.
cryptocurrency, right? Like the big boys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, high caps, mid caps, low caps, micro
Yeah.
caps, weirdo coins. Who knows? Like you start going down. I think things kind of have a similar spread here. So hopefully it does follow that pattern, and we can continue to see that. But we got a lot of variables that we didn't have before that could change the timing and the cyclical nature of it. And in fact, people have sent in some questions for you on that very topic. But before we jump there, we'd love to just get your opinion on the market, what you're seeing for trends and some of the segments.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I would like just to have a global overview of where the market is globally. Maybe not only about NFTs and segments, but really globally.
Sure.
Um, I've made myself a conviction that I would love you to challenge, but I feel like meme coins are a good thing right now in the industry. Let me explain my theory. Is that historically NFTs have been, let's say, a toy for real builders, collectors, and as well for flippers, for all the collectors that really don't care about the actual value proposition of NFTs. But right now, you cannot really make money with NFTs. You cannot really trade and flip NFTs right away as you used to do. So it means that most of these guys, of these short-term traders, they left the NFT space and they were looking for a new toy. They found this new toy with meme coins. So I feel like we have now basically split this community in two, with traders and flippers that moved to meme coins, and they let us alone. They let us build. So now we have all the builders doing quite quiet stuff in the NFT industry. And I think that if the trend continues like that, we may have a way better second phase for NFTs than what we had so far. So
Hmm.
thanks God we have meme coins.
Yeah, I agree with some of that. I've never really thought that it took away some of the people that were participating in just speculative flipping of NFTs. There's a lot of incentivization for that with things like some of the platforms, some of the marketplaces that have points systems, whether that's Blur or Magic Eden even. Um, and I do think that some of that still happens, but yeah, opportunistically, a lot of people probably shifted over to meme coins. I agree with
Mhm.
you that meme coins are a good thing for the market overall because and this isn't listen, this isn't universally felt here. I get in debates all the time with one of my counterparts who's very salty about the meme coin thing. But from my perspective, memetics is part of the culture. It always has been for cryptocurrency, right? Some of the oldest NFTs you can find with rare pepes and things like that obviously involve memes. Memes is part of the subculture here, and culture is
Mhm.
part of what insulates a little bit and moves the marketplace for us. At the end of the day, we ride on cryptocurrency, and fundamentally a transaction happens, and speculation is part of it. I really think you need
Yes.
all participants in the ecosystem for it to succeed. If it was just art as a store or a technology for provenance, I don't think we would have the access to liquidity and the growth of infrastructure and all the things that we do. That's a very long-winded way for me to say I think people coming into the ecosystem to participate in whatever
Mhm.
way that is, eventually, it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall. Some people discover their love for art or technology. And so it's almost like a funnel effect in some ways, right?
Yeah.
But let's be clear, people participating in meme coins right now and speculating, that's not new retail coming in. That's not, new retail isn't loading up at a dex and buying soul and sending it to their phantom wallet and going on dex screener, and like that's people that are already involved in the crypto and NFT ecosystem, kind of shifting funding around and trying to do stuff. So some of the detractors I've heard say, hey, this is siphoning off new eyeballs to go do this. And I'd say maybe it entices new people to be interested and enter the ecosystem and go on that journey, right? Like we all start somewhere and then end up down different rabbit holes. And here I am.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but it's just like historically, you are just a single place where you have basically the casino and you have the art gallery at the same place. And you entered and you didn't really know if it was an art gallery, a casino, a supermarket, or whatever. Now you have a casino for gamblers, which is called meme coins. And when you enter an art gallery, you have art and you know what you are doing here and you meet people like you. So I think that more and more, this one single place called NFTs, or crypto or whatever, is now getting split into small buildings with meme coins on the side, maybe crypto, DeFi, NFTs, real world assets, and we'll have more and more sub segments, sub sections like that.
Hey, that's wonderful if it happens that way. We have a comment on the Discord. We need more hybrid casino galleries, right? So there's art projects, there's collections, there's artists that are dropping meme coins. I think a lot of the lines are getting blurred, and we're going to redefine a lot of the categories as we go here. So if nothing
Yeah,
else, it's exciting to see something totally different. We're not just running it back turbo what we had done 4 years ago. I
yeah,
see that you have a dashboard up. Would you like me to share that for everyone to see as well?
of course, please do. This is super exclusive, guys. So, uh, do you have a question before I start, Nightmare?
No, I don't know. I was just very excited about the analytics that we're seeing here exclusively.
Let me get some water before we start. So, what's going on here, guys? So that's basically the backstage of NFT 18. So what you got here is the kind of dashboard we use internally um, before publishing any report. So that's a Power BI dashboard that we use to get a global overview of all the trends, and based on that, we build our reports. So the question that everyone is asking right now is, how is the market over the past quarter? How was Q1 2024? And it's actually quite surprising quarter. So if you compare to previous quarter, which was about 1.2 billion, this one is about 1.5. So it's a little better in terms of volume. The average price almost doubled, which, let's be honest, is mostly due to the increase of cryptocurrencies. Because if you think of the average price of all the blue chips, it has been divided by 2 to 3 for some of them. So it's really interesting to see that the average price increased, multiplied by 2, but total sum traded has been only multiplied something like 10 or 20% more, not that much. So in terms of distribution, Blur remains super massive, no doubt about that. OpenSea is now side to side, with Magic Eden, which was not the case before. It's not a good sign for OpenSea, let's be honest. Blur is basically being the big boss of Ethereum. OpenSea is still there, still a good number 2, but now we see that Magic Eden is almost at the same level. So we may move from a world where OpenSea was number 1 to a world where OpenSea is number 3, behind Blur and potentially soon maybe behind Magic Eden. And of course, the growth of Magic Eden is related to the growth of ordinals, so Bitcoin ordinals growth. That's been a smart move from Magic Eden to be there. So that's what it is. What it is. The second interesting thing that we've seen is about the global volume, so 1.5 billion, compared to primary volume. And the conclusion is that you will have a super hard time selling a collection of NFTs right now. The global volume is about 16 million over the quarter. Okay, so honestly, it's nothing. So it means that basically about 4 million per month. No, sorry, 5 million, 5 million and something per month have been sold on the primary market. Everything else is secondary market. So first conclusion, you will not sell something expensive on the primary market. The average price is $12 on the primary market. And the second thing is that you will not sell 10,000 something. It's not going to happen. Not in Q1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, that crosses segments, right? So GameFi segments, which can be a lot more affordable and accessible. So there's a lot of,
Yes.
you know, there's a lot of smoothing there with the different type of assets. I wanted to rewind a little bit to what you had said about marketplaces, because I found that interesting where you said Magic Eden and OpenSea were running neck and neck there. Does that include Solana volume, or have you guys not incorporated that yet? And the reason,
No, not yet, unfortunately.
so I would
Not
I
yet.
would I would think that with Solana volume, Magic Eden would be significantly higher than OpenSea. I think when we've looked at some
Most likely.
aggregators recently, and I think I'm trying to remember the context. I think it had to do with we were just looking at where some certain game assets were being sold. Right, we're doing a lot of gaming. We're playing Nyan Heroes. I'm running around with cats and mechs. We're doing weird stuff on the whale Discord. But the point is, we were looking at marketplaces, and Magic Eden I think was number 2 to Blur, and I think OpenSea actually had been surpassed at this point by
It's
what we had
possible,
been
yeah.
what we had been talking about with some of your recent case studies, OKX, and what they have been doing in their marketplace, right? So
Yeah.
I we actually had someone join us for Natively Digital. It's a kind of a culture segment we do weekly, and said that they had signed an NDA with OpenSea, but they're working on a new go to market. So I'm sure they're feeling the heat there as well.
Yeah, it's tough. I think they are having a really bad time. Let's be honest. And this average price will definitely continue to go down, but not necessarily a bad thing. But with all these chains like Solana, the layer 2, Base with Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, you will not see assets worth thousands and thousands on these chains. And okay, it is what it is. Just you will have a lot of NFTs that you can buy for $20. No big deal. But yeah, that's the new trend, basically.
That's a good thing, though, right? Doesn't that more accessibility for people would mean more people that can come into the ecosystem? I mean, selfishly, people always want that average to go up, right? But going down, I think, means, especially heading into a bull run, accessibility and more people could be coming involved in the ecosystem. So that could be a net positive, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. On the other end, the global profit and loss, no surprise, people keep losing money. So this is the evolution. So maybe let me get you a longer period. Okay, be more interesting. So this in the dark blue line is the loss, and the light blue one is the profit. So you still have way more loss than profit, but it's getting closer. We are not there yet, but it's getting closer compared to what it was. So we used to lose about like 150 million per month. Yeah, something like that, 150 million. Right now, we are losing about 25 to 30 million. So it's getting better. It's getting better.
And this is actualized, right? So this is like when people made the transaction. So it'll be like their purchase cost versus their sales cost. Okay. Right. Well, I mean, I'm glad to see the gap closing there, right? That's a good thing. So trending in the right direction, but still in that negative. But imagine a world. I mean, how does that work? Where every purchase ends up a net positive? It's just not sustainable, right? It's not sustainable. I think people in the early days of NBA Top Shot found that out.
That's
right.
The really, to be honest, I discovered that figure too. Is that over the global history of NFTs, we've recorded since the beginning of time, let's say, we've recorded about 10 billion total profit for about almost 8 million loss. That's a lot. But if you just take the last 3 years, so 2022, 2023, and 2024, it doesn't look good. That's where it started to hurt. So about 7 billion loss for 5.7 billion profit.
I'd be interested to see this by sub-segment. Specifically, I could think of what would be drivers of each one. One of the comments that someone had sent us in to kind of share with you, and it relates to something we already talked about, I guess, was that some people are saying that meme coins have essentially there's a correlation between meme coins and PFP projects, right? PFP is kind of speculative asset. People got in hoping to flip forward, and they're saying that there's some similarities there, and some of the, I guess, momentum right now missing from PFPs is because there's an alternative right now in the meme coin market. But I would think that PFP projects and people, when there was a phase where we can recall where you can name the animal and name the prefix, right? Like, funky monkeys, whatever. People would mint it in mass, hoping to on reveal or pre-reveal or sell it, and took pretty big L's. I mean, I think that's different than people with long-term vision grabbing pieces of art.
That's what you got here. It's the evolution of loss per year and per category, so per kind of per segment. So collectibles used to represent the bulk of loss, and I think that if it's getting better here, if we are really getting closer here, it's because I would say we suffered enough. We paid the bill of all this speculation. Now, okay, we can consider that it's okay, it's over, and we can maybe re-engage a relationship with NFT markets in a healthy way. That's how I see things. So yeah, a lot of last recorded on collectibles, a part of on art too. And it's funny to see that we have seen a lot of losses on virtual worlds, but now people just hold. And we, for information, we see that people really don't trade virtual worlds again. They just hold what they got, and the relationship to virtual worlds or metaverse is basically the same that we have with real estate. People hold the assets really long, just like a house or a parcel of land, of actual land.
Yeah,
It's
I
funny.
actually I actually go through weekly and do like a real estate update and understanding, which each legacy and new metaverse parcels, what they're going for. It all started from my hunt for my dream parcel and origin city in crypto voxels, because
Oh
I think it
wow.
has a lot of historic value there beyond,
Yeah.
culturally. But that being said, what we've seen is a lot of movement that coincided with the macro crypto market. But interestingly, gaming catalysts where the lands would be used for specific gaming things would cause significant lift. Also, we would see if there is a token associated with it, obviously, right? There's an economic incentive for people to hold it or acquire it if
Mhm.
there's something that's going to happen. But there isn't, first of all, there isn't a lot of volume. So a few transactions can swing
Yeah.
it significantly, but there isn't a lot of volatility except for the very low priced ones. And by low price relatively, I'm speaking $100, a couple $100, something that people could buy in mass and move en masse because they can use it as a fungible token, essentially, right? Let me buy 20, let me buy 100 of these, wait for the value to go to here, and then I'll move it. It's just used differently. So you're right. It's a very steady, albeit
Yeah.
small dollar volume right now.
It's not. I mean, I haven't seen much volatility on virtual worlds. Honestly, we are running our quarterly valuations right now, and in terms of value of assets, it's quite stable. It really looks like everyone is just waiting and holding the assets and waiting for better dates. I think that everyone that was a little bit of a paper end, they sold during 2023. So now people that still hold something, they really don't need that money. They don't need any liquidity, and they consider this as a long-term investment, or they really want to build something. So
Yeah, well, hey, listen, if you see a nice waterfront property, let me know. I'm still looking in CV, but that's the metaverse. Tell me about the other segments, what you're seeing.
yeah, I'll let you know if I find anything interesting. So yeah, what do we have here? It's just what's quite funny is the monthly volume. So what's funny there is that we used to have a lot of wash trading last year. So 2023 was full of wash trading, as you can see. And from February, March, it really went down, 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 and until the really bottom of October, where we hit something like yeah, 70, 75 million was the total, yeah, well, it was really the bottom of NFT market, 75 million over the month. We went up and really significantly to about like oh, sorry. Oh, no, sorry, excuse me. It was about like 250. And there we went up to about 500 million. Sorry, 500 million. And we now have something extremely, extremely quiet, which is still close to 500 million. Maybe it went down a little bit, but it's super funny to see that people don't watch trade anymore. I mean, there is nothing like a new farming token season or anything like that. So there is not that many reasons to watch trade. So okay, no suspicious activity, just a little bit. And the volume is just okay, super, super steady. I really feel like the market is waiting for something. Maybe the halving, maybe the alt season. I don't know. But the market is waiting for something.
Hmm.
It's really like it's in the starting block. Like, okay, when? When?
I like that. I like that analogy because that doesn't just talk about things stagnating. It talks about it being kind of still, but a lot of momentum ready to go, right? A lot of pent
Yes.
up a momentum that could be unleashed with the right catalyst. And you're right, a
Yeah.
lot of people have moved farming activities over to some places where you can do it directly by depositing your Ethereum and
Yeah.
farming tokens to come and things like Blast or whatever. So probably a lot of what we're seeing here is true volume, which blows my mind when I think of the volume that we're seeing on ordinals and Bitcoin right now. Like that's really the head turner. In fact, a lot of people that are absolute OGs in our community, we're talking 2017, 2018 activity, are saying they're still trying to wrap their head around it and think about how they're going to participate because runes will be coming soon, right? Post halving. A lot of these assets have gotten a lot of speculative action.
Hmm.
Runestones alone had a ridiculous market cap, I think second to only CryptoPunks,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
I
was
saw
which was
that.
airdropped to people, right? So like there's crazy volume coming from there.
Hmm. Yeah. So y- I I feel like there is some sort of a how to say in English, a storm, storm in the head, basically right now. Uh, Consider that the NFT market is a person that asks so many questions about itself, like, oh gosh, what should I do next? Who I am? What are my priorities? What is my goal in life? These kind of things, like, are the blue chips for real valuable assets? Should I go? Should I move to ordinals? Should I build on different chains? Where should I go? I think that's these kind of big questions that are basically asked here. Like, okay, what does the next era is going to look like? All these things are being questioned right now. So I think that behind this kind of apparent quiet, there's so much going on, so many trends. And as you said, runestones getting super massive, ordinals ordinals getting bigger, base and Solana growing with meme coins and potentially becoming new place for NFTs too. All of that together, I think that the new NFT ecosystem is just asking itself so many questions, and we'll find out the answers in the next few months, and it's going to be massive.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking on the Discord about the launch of base punks. I'm on Farcaster and Warpcast, and I've dabbled in base on some tokens because my thesis was, hey, when new people come because something's exciting, Bitcoin hits a new 80K for really smashing the all-time high, or hits 100, right? And retail comes. My
Mhm.
thesis personally was Coinbase app is the most accessible, easy button thing they can do, and
Mhm.
Coinbase has the resources to really make all of the assets on base at their fingertips, so those might get a lot of action first.
Yeah.
So I've invested in tokens there, but like seeing some of the projects be launched by artists that I'm not even familiar with, and certainly with what we do here, we have exposure to a lot. It's just been mind-blowing, the type of asset value that these things have quickly accumulated. But enough of my anecdotes. I know you're short on time today, Zoup, so I wanted to make sure I
Right.
cover off on some of these really cool questions actually we got
Sure.
from the community. And you kind of just mentioned it, but I'll say the question anyway because it frames it differently. How will cross-chain proliferation affect this market cycle? How will this market cycle, in your opinion, how could it be different, being that we're spread across so many different chains?
Um, it's a good question. So I think that there are different options. One is that we'll see as many communities as there are chains. So basically, we may have people really getting into base or getting into Solana and building their stuff together, having interoperability between projects here, and having this kind of, let's say, base mafia and Solana mafia that will build all the new cool stuff and so on. So we may see some sort of a split. And my theory is that I don't know if it will be during this run or the next one, but we may see a brand new generation of bridges, like super smooth, super efficient bridges that allow you to own something on base, transfer or interact directly with something on Solana, having token gated activity like that through different chains. If it's the case, we'll see something extremely smooth where the technical layer will be almost forgotten. And if we're able to have something like this, where you don't really care if you buy your NFT on Base or on Solana, on ETH, on Ordinals, and you just buy something and you can enjoy something on any other chain, yeah, in that case, I think that will be a massive step forward. But I think it's maybe not for the next few months, and that what we'll see is this kind of brand new mafia, small mafia per chain, because people love to be part of the community. It may not be the only rules community or only the, I don't know, whatever base community, but maybe more something like I'm into all these projects from this chain. I know the guy. We go to the same events together, and we have the same side events about everything on base, everything on Solana.
Yeah, certainly there are people very passionate about that, and it's almost like the communities that we knew of can be
Mm-hmm.
divided in further into more communities. A related question that I got
Yeah.
is, do you think there'll be any change to the capital rotation order that we're used to, being that there's so many different chains? And I'm projecting here. I think what they're asking is, normally we'd see, okay, everyone's in, doing gen art right now. Okay, now everybody's buying into everyone's interested right now in OG art or whatever, and it kind of rotates around. Well, all of a
Mm.
sudden, when you have that spread across 4 or 5 big ecosystems, right, at the same time, could they run like, do you think it would run simultaneous? Like, if everyone's looking for gen art, they're looking for that on all chains, or one could be gen art and one could be PFPs, and they can diverge a little bit?
I think so. That's that's my theory since the beginning of NFTs is that we will have a lot more specialty into in each blockchain. I think if Ethereum will probably remain the biggest one for art, for let's say fine art. And I think that we'll probably have one more for gaming. I mean, I'm totally fine with layer two being the one for gaming, one of the layer twos. And maybe we'll have more and more, yeah, specific chain for specific use case. Uh, but there is something else about capitals, as you mentioned, is that, before the first NFT bull run, we had the DeFi summer. This time, I feel like we may have some sort of um, meme coin springtime, and maybe all the people that will actually benefit, and people and chains, ecosystem that will benefit from the meme coin spring may benefit from a bigger NFT bull run. So instead of having one super massive NFT bull run, we may have a NFT bull run on base, one on Solana, and so on, just because the community there really benefited from this money.
Right. Yeah, arguably, some of the stimulus that came to Solana really helped, bootstrap some of the meme coin momentum we see there, right? And I'd have to see some
Mm.
data, between the Jupiter airdrop and everything else that had happened. Shout out to Wormhole for my W drop, for some of the stuff I had as well. I think talking about interoperability and being able to port different things, different places just a bit earlier.
Yeah.
On a related note, this is a good one to cap off with, and I'm intrigued to hear your answer too. Someone said, right now we've seen the airdrop, meta, meme, AI, GameFi, etc., play out as anticipated, as people projected.
Yeah.
So, do you have any predictions or guesses as to what could be some of the upcoming new metas that we will see that haven't hit yet?
Wow. I see something really big and deep about real world assets being tokenized. No doubt about this. I'm just not sure about when, because Sometimes really feel old when I remember the projects I met in 2018, 2019 that were into tokenization of physical things. For example, fields, buildings, stuff like that. I was like, gosh, that's the revolution. Oh gosh, everyone will own NFTs like tomorrow. But no, it was way more complex than it seems. So right now, the real world asset tokenization is potentially one of the main trends of this year. You know what? I don't feel like AI is the main trend for 2024. I mean, AI x NFT. Um, so I think that this is one, and the second one is maybe I'm too optimistic, but utility of meme coins uh, with NFTs. So I don't exactly know how it's going to look like, but I think that a lot of people are exploring how these stupid, useless meme coins, sorry, but will potentially support an actual utility with NFTs and how they can basically integrate them and make some sort of a healthy long-term economy. Basically, I just think of what Axie Infinity did with the SLP, with the AXS, all this complete economy, the play to earn, that was quite complex, quite new, but not completely finalized. I think that there is something potentially to make here with meme coins.
Wow, yeah. It's interesting that you say that. I was just looking at a project that was trying to leverage, I think ERC 404s. I think that's the standard where if you accumulate a certain amount of them, you get ownership of the NFT or whatever. And it was on base and related to it was a meme coin related to a launch pad. So it was kind of in line with what you're saying. I still have to do my due diligence on it. Not trying to show, but it was certainly interesting and enough that I had to like shake my head and look at it again, which usually for me in this space means pay attention. If it doesn't make sense to you and you're like, yeah, that's too complicated, like
Right.
do a double take because that's where like transformative things happen.
Mhm.
Awesome stuff, Zoup. But especially love the insights at the end. Thank you so much for chopping it up a little bit and sharing some of your experiences from
A
NFT
pleasure.
NYC. And looking forward to seeing what you guys got on deck for your next case study and the trends that you see for your quarterly report.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nightmare. And as usual, it's always a pleasure to be there.
Take care.
See you.